Hello, and welcome to some Dodge family history. This is where I present information and research on my ancestors who served in the military during the early 20th century. Today, I will be presenting on records I have added to the reconstructed military file of David Nemetzky from the National Archives at College Park, Maryland. I recently returned from the National Archives and have found several different record series that have helped in the reconstruction of Sergeant Nemetzky's military service record. The records I have found cover his military service between 1917 and 1931. Before I start on the record series that I found at the National Archives in College Park, Maryland for David Nemetzky, I want to review briefly the reconstructed file that I found for him at the National Archives in St. Louis. His reconstructed file, or R file, contains his final payment statements from 1922, 1924, 1927, 1930, and 1931, as well as carded medical records that show medical treatment that he received while stationed at Letterman General Hospital in San Francisco. Now, there is a burn file, or B file list, at the National Archives in St. Louis to indicate which Army official military personnel files have been recovered from the 1973 fire. Now, unfortunately, David Nemetzky's is not one of those files. Family Search has digitized and indexed the microfilmed images of the bimonthly and monthly muster rolls from the end of 1912 through the end of 1939. Fold 3 has digitized many of the microfilmed images from the available morning reports for that same time period. Ancestry has indexed and published the available troopship manifests, again for that same time period. Now, along with his reconstructed file and available online records, I have also located his enlistment and discharge record from 1914 to 1919, which is recorded with the City and County of San Francisco. Now, you may or may not be able to obtain a copy of this record from your county, depending on the privacy laws in your state. There are many special orders that are available at the National Archives, both at Washington, D.C. and College Park, Maryland. Special orders provide information on a soldier's assignments and duties at a specific location, as well as give information on where a soldier may be assigned. To understand special orders, it is important to have some understanding of how the Army was organized. Throughout the 19th and early 20th centuries, the Army had been divided up into different geographic districts called departments. This geographic division attempted to provide for streamlined administration of the Army, its units, installations, and personnel. By 1917, there were 6 departments within the United States: Western, Southern, Central, Southeastern, Eastern, and Northeastern, as well as 3 foreign departments: Hawaii, Panama Canal, and Philippines. In 1920, the Army realigned its 6 United States departments into 9 different Corps areas 1 through 9, as shown on this map. Now, Hawaii, Panama Canal, and the Philippines remained as departments. These 9 Corps areas within the United States were intended to provide for streamlined mobilization and training of troops. It is important to understand this realignment because this affects how the special orders were issued, recorded, and organized. This realignment took effect in the middle of 1920. The special orders that were issued in 1920 prior to the realignment were issued and recorded by the individual departments. The special orders that were issued in 1920 after the realignment were issued and recorded by the individual Corps areas. When I went to the National Archives at College Park in March of this year, I looked at the special orders for the 2nd Corps area in 1920 and noticed that this series of special orders only covered from September through December of 1920. The special orders for the Eastern Department cover the time period from January through August of 1920. This is why there are special orders for both individual departments and Corps areas in 1920. Knowing about these geographic areas will help give understanding as to what records are available at the National Archives, as well as where to find special orders that were issued. What special orders are available for research at the National Archives in College Park, Maryland? The record series I have researched at the National Archives in College Park, Maryland To help reconstruct the military record of David Nemetzky includes some of the following: Special Orders, Core Areas 1 through 9, Special Orders, U.S. Forces in China, Special Orders, War Department, and Special Orders, Presidio San Francisco. On this slide, I have included the National Archives ID number, so you can look up each of these record series on the National Archives catalog. The special orders for each of the core areas within the United States, as well as the special orders issued by the different forts and posts within the United States, including the Presidio San Francisco, are part of Record Group 394, while those special orders for departments outside of the United States are part of Record Group 395. The special orders for the War Department are part of Record Group 407. One thing to note for these special orders for the interwar years is that there are no indexes for these volumes. You will need to know when and where your ancestors served if you wish to search through each of these special orders. Also, some of these special orders were published and bound, while many others were typed and likely copied by mimeograph and then bound together. Additionally, the National Archives in College Park, Maryland, has special orders from various forts, camps, and posts from around the United States and abroad available for research. You can search the National Archives catalog to see which special orders are available for research. Additionally, there are special orders that are also housed at the New York City Public Library. Specifically, they are housed at the Stephen A. Schwarzman Building in Midtown Manhattan. I went to the New York Public Library in May of this year, and I was able to look through various special orders from the Hawaiian Department, Philippine Department, Eastern Department, and the War Department. In order to look through the special orders at the New York Public Library, you will need to reserve the special orders you wish to look through in advance. This is so the library staff can request them and have them ready for you. One thing I noticed in my research is that the special orders for the Eastern Department for 1920 are only housed at the New York Public Library. Shown here is a page from the special orders for the Eastern Department in 1920. The special orders for the Eastern Department in 1920, as mentioned earlier, cover from January through August of 1920. Additionally, the special orders for the Eastern Department in 1920 are not in a bound volume. They are kept as individual pages stored together. Also, there is no index, so I had to carefully leaf through each individual page, which took a good amount of time to do. Additionally, the New York Public Library has also started to publish some of their special order holdings online. This is the list of special orders that are currently available on Google Books. They are searchable online by name, place, or service number. I have found special orders for David Nemetzky for 1923 and 1924 among these special orders that are available on Google Books. I actually found the special orders for 1923 for David Nemetzky online only a couple weeks after I had found them at the National Archives in College Park in March of this year. During my trips to the National Archives at College Park in March and September of this year, I was able to find several special orders for David Nemetzky. I found special orders for him in core areas 2, 8, and 9, as well as special orders for him in China. If you notice the special orders for David Nemetzky at the top right and bottom left, there is a declassified designation. This is because many of these special orders were at one time classified. In order to take any pictures at the National Archives at College Park, you will need to request this declassified designation from the staff, which they are happy to provide. Although I did not need a declassified designation for his special orders from China. Now, many of the other record series, which I searched through at College Park and will talk about, also have a declassified designation, which is why you will see a declassified designation for those records as well. Additional record series that are available at the National Archives in College Park that I searched through in September of this year are Historical Records of General Hospitals, 1917 through 1920, and Historical Records of Hospitals and Infirmaries, 1917 through 1920. According to the National Archives catalog, these record series consists of inoculation reports, sanitation reports, personnel rosters of doctors and nurses, lists of sick and wounded and medical statistics relating to U.S. Army General Hospitals, Army hospitals, and infirmaries in the United States during World War I. Additionally, they also contain medical records, special orders, monthly returns, and morning reports. I came across these two record series in the National Archives catalog shortly after my trip in March of this year, clearly a sign that there was more records for me to find for David Nemetzky. Additionally, if your ancestor served in the medical department, there are two record series of correspondence from the Office of the Surgeon General. Both of the correspondence series contain correspondence, reports, memorandums, and other related documents created by the Office of the Surgeon General in Washington, D.C. I will talk more about these two record series and what I found later on. For the record series Historical Records of General Hospitals, I found records for David Nemetzky in General Hospital No. 2 at Fort McHenry, Maryland, General Hospital No. 41, also known as Hoff General Hospital, at Staten Island, New York, and Letterman General Hospital at San Francisco. For General Hospitals No. 2 and No. 41, I found special orders for David Nemetzky. Specifically, for General Hospital 41, I found a special order from April of 1920 that ordered Sergeant Nemetzky to accompany the remains of a deceased soldier to his family in Baltimore, Maryland. I also found bi-monthly returns of the enlisted force of the medical department. These are similar to the monthly muster rolls that are available online at Family Search. These bi-monthly rosters list each enlisted Army Medical Department personnel by rank, their service number, and notes such as date of arrival, date of transfer, and other pertinent information regarding their service. I also found copies of the monthly muster rolls that are available on Family Search. For General Hospital No. 2 specifically, I found the monthly muster roll for November of 1919, a specific record that was not microfilmed by the National Archives in the 1950s and is not available online. I also found medical records for General Hospital No. 2, specifically surgical records showing that Sergeant Nemetzky had a tonsillectomy in October of 1919. Additionally, this record series contains special orders from Letterman General Hospital through the 1930s, which was a surprise find for me. I did not expect to find records as late as the 1930s in this record series, so if your ancestor served at Letterman General Hospital in the medical department, chances are they will be found here. For the record series Historical Records of Hospitals and Infirmaries, I found records for David Nemetzky in Camp Lewis, Washington, the Post Hospital Army Supply Base, Brooklyn, and USA Embarkation Hospital No. 4 in New York City. Just as in the record series Historical Records of General Hospitals, Historical Records of Hospitals and Infirmaries contain the bi-monthly returns of the enlisted force of the medical department. Additionally, I found special orders for the Post Hospital Army Supply Base, Brooklyn for Sergeant Nemetzky. Specifically, the special order I found placed him in charge of evacuation of the patients and hospital building in the event of a fire or evacuation training. I also found correspondence regarding Sergeant Nemetzky at the USA Embarkation Hospital No. 4. The correspondence I found relates to his assignment to this hospital, as well as notification of his discharge to the regular Army Reserves in June of 1919. The only record I found for Sergeant Nemetzky in Camp Lewis, Washington, was a daily report of changes for the enlisted men for December 24, 1918. This report shows his transfer from Base Hospital No. 162, which was being decommissioned, to the U.S. Army Base Hospital at Camp Lewis. I briefly mentioned that I found some of the Surgeon General's office correspondence regarding Sergeant Nemetzky. Before I talk more about the correspondence, I found that it's important to ask a couple questions. How is this correspondence organized? Why are the official military personnel files sometimes known as 201 files? Where does the term 201 file come from? The War Department Decimal Classification System was originally implemented in 1914. It was revised during World War I and maintained during the interwar years. The War Department Decimal Classification System is divided by number series, with each number series representing a different subject. The 200 number series covers correspondence relating to personnel. The War Department Decimal Classification System book, which is available on Google Books, explains. This group, 200, includes subjects pertaining to persons, where the commissioned and warrant officers, enlisted men and flying cadets, civilian employees or civilians, and covers all matters affecting pay and allowances, discipline, trials by court-martial, military prisons, and funerals and burials. The first two groups of this class, 200 and 201, are designed to take care of subjects general to all classes of personnel covered by the three groups immediately following, namely 210 commissioned, 220 enlisted, and 230 civilian. The subclasses under any 200 series will be used in connection with a general discussion and with policies and procedures, but will not be used in conjunction with the name of an individual. The correspondence I found for Sergeant Nemetzky was found within the 220 group, and the correspondence always related to him and other soldiers together. The Decimal Classification System book goes on to explain, in order to maintain a complete personal record of each individual, the file number 201 will be used, followed by the name of a designated individual who is the subject of a communication. It is these 201 files that were tragically destroyed and lost in the National Personnel Records Center fire in 1973. The Surgeon General's office correspondence is contained within two record series. The first record series covers the years 1917 through 1927, and the second record series covers the years 1928 through 1937. Now, I didn't find correspondence for Sergeant Nemetzky at every location that he served at, but I did find correspondence regarding him at Letterman General Hospital, at General Hospital number 41, at the attending surgeon's office in New York City, and at William Beaumont General Hospital in El Paso, Texas. The correspondence I found for him always pertained to him and other soldiers being discussed together. Any correspondence that would have discussed him specifically and individually would have been in his 201 file. One piece of correspondence I found for Sergeant Nemetzky was taking the examination for promotion to Master Hospital Sergeant in March of 1920. Now, he held the rank of Master Hospital Sergeant, but this rank was only given as an emergency rank, which emergency ranks began in 1917 following the United States entry into World War I. If he hoped to retain this rank after an end to the emergency was declared, he would have to qualify for promotion. The results of the examination were published in the Army-Navy Journal, but unfortunately, he did not pass the examination. Other correspondence from 1920 discussed the termination of his emergency rank and return to his normal rank of sergeant, as well as his taking the examination for promotion to Staff Sergeant in October of 1920, which examination he passed. The correspondence from William Beaumont General Hospital lists his qualifications. Sergeant Nemetzky was trained as a pharmacist, as a property clerk, and as a drill master. The certificates and dates of receiving these qualifications would have been included in his 201 file. Additionally, there is correspondence from 1929 that indicate his taking the exam for promotion to Master Sergeant. He passed this examination for promotion, but was so far down the promotion list that when he received his final discharge in 1931, he was discharged as a Staff Sergeant. Shortly before my September trip to the National Archives at College Park, the Adjutant General's Office correspondence index sheets were published on the National Archives catalog. This series is indexed and searchable on the National Archives catalog website. These index sheets were microfilmed during the 1940s, and these index sheets list the subject of the correspondence and are organized according to the War Department Decimal Classification System, which are indicated in the upper right-hand corner of each index sheet. These two index sheets indicate 220.31 as a classification number. 220.31 deals with assignments and transfers of soldiers. The area where Sergeant Nemetzky was presently serving, as well as where he would be assigned to serve, are also indicated on the index sheets next to the classification number. In addition to these records that are available at the National Archives at College Park, there is another record that is online that I think is overlooked. It is the Army and Navy Journal. The complete collection is found on Internet Archive. The Army and Navy Journal contain articles about different activities, engagements, and occurrences within the Army. The Army and Navy Journal also contains several reports of promotions and promotion examination results. As mentioned earlier, Sergeant Nemetzky took the examination for promotion to Master Hospital Sergeant in March of 1920. The results of this examination were published in the Army and Navy Journal, which indicate that he did not pass this examination. I was also able to find that Sergeant Nemetzky was promoted to Staff Sergeant in December of 1920 following his passing the examination for promotion to Staff Sergeant. He also passed the examinations for promotion to both Technical Sergeant in 1925 and Master Sergeant in 1929. However, he was never promoted to either rank, as he was listed lower on each promotion list and had to wait for others ahead of him to either be promoted, discharged, or retired. This is perhaps one reason why he chose to leave the Army in 1931 through discharge by purchase. I hope you have enjoyed this presentation and found it informative. There are many record series available at the National Archives in College Park, Maryland, that are available to help you with the reconstruction of your ancestors' military service file. The record series I have found and researched, from special orders to correspondence, as well as medical records and roster lists, have helped me reconstruct a portion of David Nemetzky's military service file. Additionally, there are also various special orders that are available at the New York Public Library. If you are researching your ancestor who served in the Army, especially if they were stateside during World War I, or if they served during the interwar years, I hope that these record series will help you find your ancestor and their military service. Thank you.